last time, and this will be kind of double dipping in some ways. How about like you kind of lead the topics, just so that we can kind of like get like a novel take on them from the beginning. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Yeah, sure. I mean,
Oh yeah.
here's the problem is that I'm not too knowledgeable about some of these topics. I mean, I feel like I really have a tenuous grasp on most topics we discuss in the first place. I'm not sure how this will go.
Well, I think that's part of the charm. All right, but even just honestly, just do what I've been doing, and just literally, you can even just literally point out like you're just reading from like the notes,
Yeah.
right? Like whatever, right? I kind of like the formal structure thing of just being like listening to shows that clearly have a kind of like order of topics that they're kind of working through. I kind of enjoy that.
Yeah, that's for sure. And it's
Yeah.
nice also because like theoretically we could add those in as like skipping points on like a YouTube video or something. Like you ever seen those pop up on Google and it'll be like, here's the 10 topics that were covered in this video, and you can like skip one to one to one to one.
Oh, 100%. Or like that's like the whole monetization scheme of a lot of these motherfuckers is that they'll just for one episode they'll just release like wait, where's the dog? Oh, whatever. He belongs to the streets. He's fine.
Hey, dog Roman.
Yeah, he's um that's like how they fucking monetize that shit,
Yeah.
right? It's just totally like just like one episode is like 50 clips of like the Joe Rogan experience.
Yeah. But I mean, let's see here. We could talk about RFK a little bit. You brought up Joe Rogan. So
I super want to talk about RFK because like he's kind of based like again keep well whatever. Well, I mean we'll talk about it when we're recording, right? I mean I want to get your take on him because he's got schizo hippie energy going on.
yeah. Okay, so I guess I should clarify RFK Jr. Just to be, correct about who we're talking about in case
Yeah, we're not talking about we're recording, right?
Yeah.
We're not talking about like a reanimated body.
Dude, that'd be crazy.
that
I would
would be
vote for that,
crazy.
man. That is someone I would vote for president, just to shake things up a little bit.
Dude, for sure. Like in any kind of undead,
Mhm.
I would support at the ballot box for sure.
I
They're
mean, it'd be
definitely
more alive than Joe
underrepresented.
Biden, bro.
Oh, dude, for sure, for sure.
Fuck, but yeah, RFK Jr. Okay, so I know he's real skeptical about COVID and about vaccines and stuff like that. He
Vaccines
wrote
in
this
general,
book.
which is like an important distinction to make.
Yeah, he's been on this shit for a while. It's not like he just all of a sudden was like just the COVID vaccine, which I think that's a line in the sand a lot of people draw. They'll be like, listen, I'm not anti-vax. I'm just anti the COVID vaccine. I feel like he's kind of a flip of that. He's like, listen, they're all questionable. And Anthony Fauci's had his hands in all of them. And that's kind of his
well,
vibe.
the flip of it would be like, I'm pro COVID vaccine, but I'm against normal vaccines, and he's just against all of them.
Yeah.
Like, which kind of rocks. And yeah, his book, The Real Anthony Fauci, like did numbers, bro.
Yeah.
Like it continues to be a bestseller.
I own it. I own it on Audible.
Have you listened to it?
Yeah, I listened to it. Okay, dude, it's fucking the Audible recording is 28 hours long, so I don't know how long like page wise it is, but I mean it's pretty dense, and I've only listened
20
to
hours is probably like
it.
a solid like 300 to 400 pages, I'd say.
Yeah, I only listened to a bit of it because like here's the thing is I'm already sold on it, you know what I mean? Like it's just kind of recovering the bases for me. I'm like, yeah, sure. It's like it's a little bit more detailed just about like everything that I already thought and like have kind of picked up along the way from like various schizoid like posts on threads on Twitter or like things I've read and seen or like clips I've seen of him on Joe Rogan or whatever. So it's difficult for me to want to like actually give the full 28 hours to it, but I listened to a bit of it. I mean it's good. It's good because it is detailed. Like a lot of people, me included for sure, they just like they're not able to provide those details with these kind of concepts. They'll be like, yeah, dude, the vaccines are questionable, and like big pharma's obviously like got their hands in it, and that's obviously unethical, and that's going to lead to fucked up consequences and situations.
Yeah,
like
they
pushing them,
sus.
and everyone can kind of understand that. But like having someone with the actual receipts like that is helpful because that can get through to skeptics and stuff like that.
Totally, and I think obviously the big thing for him is that he has the Kennedy name cachet,
Oh
which
yeah.
is funny. Which is funny because the talking point against like his like he had his announcement speech, his campaign announcement event, kind of the opposite of Joe Biden, and
He's like, I'm gonna actually try to publicize this one.
yeah, Joe. I feel like Joe Biden was just like an Instagram post.
Yeah, I like how you said that he did it in a pocket reality. Like that's so true. Like it's just a little corner. Like no one even knows what's going on over there. There's like 16 people in that reality.
Oh,
Like
totally, dude. The fact that like we don't really like we're not in the era of proper broadcasting anymore
yeah,
is like so fucking useful to these slugs because their whole thing is well, anyways. But yeah, the talking point was like, yeah, he had this campaign announcement that like very few of his actual family members even attended. Which is
RFK.
yeah, RFK Jr., which is a really funny. That's a really funny thing to say. Because I mean, I think it's obviously just like yeah, like his big selling point is he has the name cachet, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which, for the record, I like don't think that he's a viable candidate.
No, I mean he wouldn't win, and also like I don't know. I think he's got a lot of red flags tied to him. Not like necessarily
Well, this is
red
the
flag.
shit. Well, but see here, right? This is the shit that I wanted to go into, right? Because I talked about this yesterday, and like I just don't know much about this motherfucker, and so the most I can say really is like, okay, like he's a Democrat, so that's bad, right? And
Yeah,
like,
I mean
and
he's
he's just like,
establishment. He's not establishment because he's positioned himself as anti-establishment. Obviously, he's writing books about the real Anthony Fauci, putting him on blast. But like, he's a fucking Kennedy, so I mean, there's that. I
to be
think
fair,
that it's
my take on that though, to be fair though, is like is yeah, I mean like he's like establishment because he's a Kennedy, but that also means that like he like knows that like the CIA killed his dad and his uncle. So
right.
like so there's that, I don't know.
Yeah, I know. I just I don't know that I would like want him to be president. I think that he would be a better, more viable, interesting candidate to me than Ron DeSantis would be, or Trump, or of course Biden. But I just don't think that he has the appeal because of the fact that like he has been on Joe Rogan. He has written books about this. Like he has an appeal to people like us that are like, oh yeah, fuck yeah, that's cool. He's like a renegade and stuff like that. But I don't think he's got broad appeal like we were talking about before. Like with Trump getting more narrow and narrow with his audience, and it's not like a broad appeal thing anymore with a big tent. I feel like that's kind of where RFK would be starting from,
Oh, totally.
and that's not a really good place to be. Like he would be kind of like the fucking Rumble of presidential candidates.
He he is the Rumble of presidential candidates, and Marianne Williamson is the TikTok of presidential
Marianne
candidates.
Williamson's nuts, bro.
Yeah, honestly, I'm kind of past the point of even like ironically liking her.
Yeah,
Because like she's kind of retarded, but also
full on.
she was like the spiritual advisor to the Clintons, which
Yeah,
like that's not even like fun
evil.
skits. Yeah, I was just gonna say like that's not even like fun shit. Like being like the spiritual advisor, that like sounds fun, but then it's like you don't want to be the spiritual advisor to people that are like sacrificing children to fucking Moloch, dude. Like
Yeah, no, like what kind
that
of spiritual
sucks.
advice has she given? The worst possible. You know what I mean? Like if she's actually a spiritual advisor and if she is earnest in her attempts and like maybe
That almost
let's
makes it
give her the
worse.
benefit of the doubt, maybe she's a good person, then she's doing a terrible job at the very least at spiritual advice. And then on the
Exactly.
flip side, if she's doing a good job, then that means that she intends to lead these people to do this evil fucking satanic bullshit that they do. So, I mean, that's also terrible.
Amen, brother. No way you cut it. Honestly, it's just like Marianne Williamson is kind of like millennial, like post irony shit, right? Where you're just
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, it's like a hippie lady, right? And that's
Yeah.
fun. And it's just like, dude, fuck that bitch, dude. Like,
Mm-hmm.
like she probably again, dude. Literally, I could just start rambling and be like, oh, well, in this, but the most simple thing is just like she was the spiritual advisor to the fucking Clintons. That's like all
Mm-hmm.
you need to know, bro.
I didn't even know that, and now that you've said it, it's like okay, sure, they're going to put that one on the shelf. Like fuck this lady completely. I already was just skeptical of her because like she's got that old hippie energy that's like the hippies who were subsumed into like the whole entire machine kind of thing, where you're like, oh, you're actually slimy. Like you're not like none of the things that like that you like supposedly stand for actually mean anything to you earnestly. They're like a cover that you operate under.
Yeah, she's just like standing around like waving a fucking crystal and feather
Yeah.
around like fucking Bill Clinton and fucking Yeltsin's head as he's just like, yeah, let's just do shock therapy on the post-Soviet states. That sounds great.
Yeah.
Fuck them, dude. Fuck
She's
her.
like, let me
Fuck all of
cleanse
them.
the air around you with this nice sage, and then they'll clear your intentions. And they're like, our intentions are to kill children and like suck their blood out of them. And she's like, all right, well, just make sure you do that with like, you know, good intention. Like just saying crazy shit that means nothing. That's one thing, dude. We talked a little bit about hippie culture and like that kind of thing, and like we're like, oh, esoteric, like kind of hippie crossover with like red pill people is like, that's a cool area to be in. Those are good people, and generally it's right. Like you're gonna find some good people that are open-minded in ways that like vibe with the kind of things that we're into, and not open-minded as in like I agree with all of the new liberal talking points, but actually open-minded as in like
Authentically open-minded.
Yeah, authentically, and like that's something good to be around. But you also encounter a fuckload of these Marianne Williamson people, and it's like kind of like wolf in sheep's clothing in a way. And I don't even know that she's really that, like, I don't know that she's even altogether there in her head. So she's like,
well, she seems Shoddy seems a little retarded.
Yeah, I mean, she a little tarded up. So I don't know that she's like a, you know, steel-eyed wolf or anything, but the thing goes, it still remains the same for her. Like she is not someone who's truly like in touch with any type of good spirituality or trying to like live an earnestly good life. If you're like you said, the fucking spiritual advisor to the Clintons, or if you're doing that stuff, and you encounter that all the time, people who use that kind of lingo and like imagery and aesthetic as a cover to like just do.
Well, this is perfect. Horrible. This is actually perfect because I think the hippie question is an interesting one, and it's worth having, right? Because I generally, as a general rule, have fucking hated hippies.
Yeah.
Hippies are fucking annoying. Having said that, I like hippie adjacent culture.
Right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, my hate for hippies just comes from my hate for the proto hippie, which is unmatched by my hate for the hippies, which is I hate beatnik culture. I fucking hate beatnik culture. I hate beat shit.
Y'all got a lot of that up there, I feel like. I didn't encounter a lot of that.
There's so fucking much of it, dude. It's just like it's like two ex-girlfriends later, and I like refuse to listen to any of that like mid 2010s new folk horse shit. Boney Bear, fucking Father John Misty. It sends me into a murderous rage. And like, but point is hippies are interesting now, though, right? No, hold on. I hate Kerouac. That was the last thing I was gonna say. But
man, I actually like Kerouac, but I guess, I mean, whatever.
Dude, fuck you, dude. No, but so the only one I like, which is probably kind of ironic, is I like God, what's the guy's fucking name? The Naked Lunch guy.
William Burroughs.
Yeah, I like Burroughs well enough, and honestly, just because I think Burroughs is just so fucking hateable.
Yeah,
that you're
he's
just
a fucking lunatic hopped up on drugs, bro. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Horrible shit.
No, exactly. Like Kerouac like fucked some people and was like kind of a narcissist. At least like he didn't fucking kill his wife,
right?
Yeah, but it's just like at a certain point, it's just like fuck it, dude. Like let's just like you shot your wife doing a fucking cocktail party trick. Like you're just whatever.
Yeah, it's part of the whole thing.
It serves her right. Yeah. What's the deal with this broad moment?
No.
But not, yeah, no, I take that back. But anyways,
a real OJ moment.
Dude, that is a real fucking OJ moment, dude. Rip Nicole. But anyways, dude, I went down an OJ Simpson rabbit hole recently.
Did you? What'd you determine? Anything?
Well, I mean, nothing that isn't fucking completely obvious. Like he fucking murdered his wife.
Yeah,
he murdered his ex-wife. Like
no doubt.
Like I don't know what there is to uncover outside of like I think that there's something funny to OJ, which obviously led into Rodney King, because they're basically like kind of framed as part one and part two of the same story.
Yeah,
accurately, I would say. I mean, I act like I was like cognizant of things going on at that point. I was like a fucking little kid. But anyways, like, yeah, I don't know. I don't really have shit to say about it. That motherfucker just did it. It's funny. And he super did it, right? Like, you like see the pictures of the bodies and shit, like the crime scene pictures.
I think he like decapitated him.
He like practically decapitated.
Yeah, that's
him.
nuts, dude.
It was like a big ass, I think it was like a big ass kitchen knife, and just like tip to fucking handle in your neck.
Boy. But here's the thing. I look at him on Twitter and I don't see that. You know what I mean? Like
he's funny on Twitter.
Yeah, right. He's made.
I love it. He has a slogan, right? Like, I'm just saying. Which is funny because that in itself sounds like an allusion to like killing his wife.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
she has some lip on her. I'm just saying.
Wait, here, hold on. All right, O.J. Simpson murder weapon. I want to make sure. I'm fact checking myself.
That's gotta be a knife, dude.
I mean, it is. We know it's a knife. Oh, it's not that big of a knife. Dude, this literally looks like a fucking like standard issue like Nazi. Oh wait, or is it a switchblade? Okay, so it wasn't a kitchen knife, but he got him. I guess.
Dude, I mean, it's even crazier if you did that with a switchblade because those are not large.
Well, also,
that means he did some sawing in there or something, dude. Fuck.
Also, like, what the fuck is like a O.J. Simpson was like a huge megastar, right?
Yeah, he's on top of the world.
What the fuck is he doing with like a switchblade, bro? Google this. Yeah. Google it. Like the very first image on the Google search is it's a picture of him. It's like an evidence locker type thing, and it's next to a ruler. This blade.
Oh, dude, that thing is not large.
No, it's not. I was totally wrong.
6 inches,
something like that. I mean, if it wasn't for the fact that it's like a quickly concealed blade, I think it would be legal. But obviously, like, you can't have a fucking switchblade. Well, though back then, who knows?
Some places, dude. You can have a switchblade in some places.
Well, right, because America's just fucking wild, and so the laws just vary wildly.
Yeah,
I remember growing up, the whole thing was butterfly knives, because butterfly knives are kind of like
a switchblade workaround.
Exactly.
You like flip it and
exactly, and then you just end up like just slicing the fuck out of one of your fingers because when you were 13 years old, your older brother took you to the smoke shop to buy one.
Yeah,
and then you have to lie to your parents about how you cut your hand.
Yeah, you're like, fuck. I don't know. It's like making arts and crafts at school. It's like the fucking Razor scooter, like how it used to whip around and hit your shins, but it's like that, but like for your hands.
Dude, Razor scooters fucking slapped, dude.
Dude, I would ride one right now if I could find one.
Remember when that was like kind of propped up at one point as being kind of like a competitor? Well, I mean, Razor scooter specifically was like a competitor with skateboards.
Yeah. Oh no.
That was like the whole branding of Razor, the company.
There was a Tony Hawk game where you could play on a Razor scooter.
I 100% believe that, because I remember there was one of them. I think it was like Tony Hawk Underground 2 or something, where you could ride bikes.
Yeah, dude, that shit was ill.
And it's like, dude, at this point, who are we even kidding?
Yeah. I've seen people biking though, like at skate parks and stuff like that before.
So, it's cool. I think bikes are cooler than skateboards.
Yeah.
Because at the very least,
dangerous.
The skateboards are dangerous. It's the devil's work, and but like
the culture's not good.
It's obviously degenerate. No, I don't know. It's just not practical, right? Like at least with a bicycle, and I'm not acting like a BMX bike, like this fucking fixed gear nonsense is all that practical. But like at the very least, like you can like, ride somewhere to get some fucking groceries with that shit. Like
you can take it to work.
Yeah, you can take literally, exactly. Bicycling is cool. Bicycling is part of a rich American tradition.
You ever see motherfuckers with the crazy bikes up there? I feel like in Seattle, everyone's got one of the big wheel and small wheel bikes, and is just riding around with like tall socks on and curly mustaches.
So the funny thing is that's a little bit more of a Portland thing.
Oh, actually, I'm sure. Right? For some reason though, I just assumed Seattle's like bigger Portland, but I bet there's some pretty big differences.
Well, so the thing that you hear, right, and this was like this is literally the slogan of like a whole campaign of like annoying person's bumper stickers, was the whole like keep Seattle weird.
Mm-hmm.
And
there's like the keep Portland weird too.
And so you don't really see keep Seattle weird very much anymore, because then they took the L and it became keep Portland weird.
Okay.
And so the ethno side is probably coming for Portland too.
Oh yeah. I mean, dude, the keep Portland weird in itself is already an ethno, like that's an ethno side already in itself, like that kind of like.
Well, right. I mean, the people, right. I get what you're saying there. Yeah, because the Bohemians weren't the fucking, like, I think about like Ballard in Seattle is kind of this like, it's this district that I spent a lot of time in, just like gigging and like, and I had a job there a few years ago, and like, Ballard it's kind of the perfect example of Seattle, which is like, it started as basically just like a row of whorehouses for longshoremen, like heading up to Alaska.
Yeah.
And like it's like one of these just many like basically like Lil Vegas places.
Interesting.
And like it probably burned down 5 times in a row because people just like were retarded about building cities back then. And like and it went from that to then becoming like, it went from native land to that to Bohemians to flat design PMC culture. Yeah, and so it's funny because like it's just like Turtles All the Way Down kind of thing, where it's just like return to tradition, and it's like that it just means being an annoying Gen Xer wearing plaid. And then people being like, return to tradition, it just means returning to like horrible wild like Deadwood whorehouse fisherman town, or then just like return to like just like crazy native tribes that fucking murdered each other. And it's like, all right, I don't know, like,
all right, it's like, let's just figure out something that works for everybody and move forward with it,
Exactly. Though to be fair, I feel like PNW, I feel like we got some of the more chill Indians up here. Like they were probably pretty chill and put roots down, and we're like, we're just gonna like smoke salmon and shit, which is a pretty good way to be, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think y'all got a really big Yakima. It's like
Yakima.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it's a big reservation. Y'all got a bunch of Indians up there, a bunch of Native Americans, whatever.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, I feel like by the time they got there, though, the poor bastards are probably like, we gotta just do what we can to survive now, because I mean, we pushed them up there. So I mean, after a long journey, I kind of want to be like, let's just see what we can do here for now.
I mean, shame on me for not actually knowing this, but I feel like a lot of them were probably around here before then too. Like they probably
definitely
had a big...
there were native tribes there for sure.
Yeah, because I think I forget the name of it, but there's like, I think it's since been unseated as the oldest human remains ever recovered. But like there was like a 14,000-year-old body recovered, something like that, in it, like near the coast in Washington. And so it fucking goes back. But these are like big, like this isn't like teepee shit. This is like big wood lodge longhouse shit.
Okay.
Which is pretty sick. But yeah, though, dude, I get down with some teepees too, to be honest.
Yeah, that's more grassland kind of vibe, I feel like.
Yeah, well, that's like it's like nomadic, right? That's like kind of the whole thing, is that it's like you have this nomadic infrastructure, I guess, right? That you can just it's like fucking camping, right? Like
the original beatniks, kind of.
Oh well, now I fucking hate it. But no, they had a lot more dignity than the fucking beatniks.
I like to think so, yeah.
Dude, I like authentically really hate the the thing where people like fetishize Native Americans a ton. Like I don't want to like shit on them just to be a contrarian. And I don't really want to necessarily shit on them at all, but just the whole thing of just being like, yeah, back then when people lived the right way, and it's like true to an extent,
like
but
they were like sacrificing folks and stuff like that in some places.
No, exactly, right? It's like I think my buddy told me like years ago. It's just like, dude, like dehumanization can mean making people less or more than they are.
Yeah, man. Right? I was actually just talking about that with my roommate about like black people magic thing. Like it's just like how that's not like a good way to actually like view and approach like Black people either, is like this over fetishization of them. It's like that's not actually making positive steps in the right direction. It's the
Look how
same
that
kind of
works out
thing.
for dudes who do that with women, dude.
It's fucked.
Like, yeah, it's just you shouldn't fetishize people.
You shouldn't fetishize anything, really, generally.
But those motherfuckers made some good smoked salmon. I'll say that much at least. But
I bet, bro. Yeah, y'all got some of the cold Indians up there. Like, there's like ice Indians and stuff up there.
Real fast, how do you feel about the? Oh shit! Sorry, I'm literally playing Minecraft and I just found lava. I'm just fully autistic now. How do you feel about the heated debate between Indian and Native American?
I mean, I feel like it's probably right to call them Native American just because it's like classifying them correctly. Because I mean, they're not in India. And the Indians thing was like just a mistake. Like they came over and they're like, oh, India, these are Indians, and then
which is hilarious.
Yeah, it's crazy because they're not anything like them really. And so they came over and just said, oh yeah, that's Indians. So I mean, I think that ideally they would have just called them Native Americans from the jump. But now I just have Indian kind of like in my consciousness, and so like it comes out whether or not I mean for it to. And I don't think it's that big of an issue. Like, it's not like it's as heated of a word as like redskin or something like that. So
I mean, bro, we went camping the other night and we drove through a reservation, and like the sign to the reservation.
Oh, they say Indian reservation.
Yeah, no, exactly,
no doubt,
right? Like,
no doubt.
No, I'm not defending the reservations themselves because like that shit's fucked up, right?
Yeah, I mean they're fucked in there, dude.
Yeah, that shit's actually unconscionable. That would actually be an interesting research episode to do. Is like just like that's some social justice type shit that I would be fucking interested in. Is just like, dude, we like put these people in fucking ghettos.
Yeah, I mean, and they just stay there and like they don't have the right resources and they don't have like proper policing or anything like that.
Bro, they don't have drinkable fucking water in a lot of these places. So there's that. I mean, there's honestly, it's probably a lot of shit that would even surprise us. You know,
certainly.
But anyways, point is, yeah, I mean, we like drove through and the fucking sign said Indian reservation, you know? So it's like, all right, come on. Like,
and those are all, a bunch of those are hangovers too from like, I mean, Native American, I think is a pretty new term. It's like when these things like, there's, you know, no new words coming up and new ways of referring to groups and things and people. And that's one of them. And I think like this one's right. Like, I think just literally it's a correct classification. They're native to America, so Native Americans. So I think it's not like it's crazy as some things, and I think that it's probably right. Like, but at this point, it doesn't really matter. I don't think really. I mean, I imagine if I was a Native American, I probably would feel differently, but I'm not, so I don't know. I can't say that. What I do know is that I've gone to Four Corners before, and there are Indian or Native American people there selling like Washington's Redskins gear. So I mean, they're not too worried about it, and they call their casinos Indian casinos. So I don't know. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think that really the real concern is treating them better and getting them proper resources in their reservations, or like trying to figure out some sort of course of action to like, I don't know, provide a little bit better infrastructure than what we have for it. And I don't know what that looks like. And I don't think that it's like land back necessarily, because like then that's taking away from other people as well.
Bro, land back was giving them the fucking ghettos, dude.
Right,
that's
100%.
not a good idea.
No,
like,
of course not.
I think that, I mean, I don't know. Like, I guess it's like if they want to like go and do the kind of separatist like or kind of parallel, I get that. I don't know. I mean, whatever. I'm not like an ethno-nationalist, you know? And so it's just like, it's like, I'm open to the idea if you want to like, just, you know, Chinatowns are a thing, right?
Yeah.
Like the Asian American.
They figured it out. They're like, this is our shit right here.
Yeah, exactly. Like it obviously works in a lot of ways, but like, I don't know. That's not really like my first idea when it comes to just like, all right, how are we going to skin this goose, guys? Like, I don't know. Well, and I'm talking about it like land back is actually a serious, like an actual real thing.
Yeah, I mean that just physically couldn't happen.
Well, it's like, but it's like, this is fucking like world economic psyop shit.
Yeah, of course.
Like land back is just it's like, I don't even want to fucking talk about it like a serious thing. It's just austerity, bro.
It's like,
Fuck
how about
that.
me get some land while we're at it, dude? Fuck, bro. Land back from who? We could talk about that maybe. Let's get it back from these fucking corporate scum and Chinese investors. Yeah, let's do that maybe.
Yeah,
But like,
exactly.
then we could all try to figure out a way to move forward.
It's just that it's like how the new means testing outside of just literal means testing is just like, we're gonna selectively give like a payout to Black Americans,
Bro, yo,
and
okay.
it's like, that shit's psychotic, dude. That shit's bad. And like, anybody that like cares about like class solidarity, you know,
yeah,
like,
it's
just
not good to do that.
it's so obviously, well, I mean, you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, it creates those fissures in solidarity. Like when you start doing
100%,
stuff like that and treating people different.
very obviously. Look at fucking just basic playground shit, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like, did you bring enough for the rest of the class?
Yeah, for real. You were talking though about that just now, and it made me think about the topic, the church medical debt thing. Because
Yeah, man.
I hadn't heard of that, and I saw it on the notes, and so I googled it, right, and I'm reading about it, and I'm seeing these articles that are pretty cool. It's like Trinity,
based.
Methodist Church, whatever. But and then I find one article. It's like the third article down after I googled church buys medical debt, and it was some church in, I don't know where, Pennsylvania or something, because it's happened in a couple places, and this one did it, and they were like, in the first paragraph they mentioned reparations, and then like the third paragraph down, there's some Presbyterian church somewhere, I think.
Oh, well, that's your problem right there.
The like third paragraph down, they're like, they bought the medical debt of primarily Black and Latino Americans. So yeah, that's kind of that working its way into what you see on the surface. I mean, it's still a good thing. It's still a good thing to get rid of the medical debt for Black people and for Latino people, of course, because they're struggling as well, and everyone's struggling. But like, anytime you make it like a specific race or thing, that brings it into something that's like going to create division. And that was just an interesting tie-in because you mentioned it, and we were like, oh yeah, this is based, this, churches buying medical debt, and it is, but you can see like these things still kind of work themselves into those. Like whenever you make any type of like political objective with church stuff, you're going to end up getting like this kind of stuff weaseled in there. It opens the door for it.
Man, that's a good fucking point, and I'm glad that you made that point, because when I talked about this the other night, basically my kind of angle on it was, kind of just the like, oh man, like about my own parish, just being like, oh man, like, why can't I have the cool parents kind of thing?
Yeah.
Right. And I kind of just decided on, it's like a love the one you're with kind of thing. Like, dude, if you want your church to be doing that kind of stuff, like you're dissatisfied with your experience there, like, unless it's just totally, you've done all you can and it's not workable or whatever, like fucking do something about it, right? Try to do something about it. I mean,
talk to someone about like, what if this is an initiative that we could start,
exactly. Like that's the whole thing, is that you have a community that you can be like, hey guys, like, what's up? What do you think of this idea? And so, there's that. I think, man, it's a good fucking point, because it's one that I think about a lot, right? Which is just like, man, like, when you start formally getting your all your eggs in one basket, kind of like Oren says, like I recall him, kind of talking about like, there's a desire to put everything in one place under one roof, right? And like, I just don't think that that's what spiritual communities are supposed to be.
Of course not.
And it's a gooey line, right? Because because I do think that those ethical systems do have, like,
they call you to action. I mean, depending on what your vocation
is. Straight up, dude, like, the separation of church and state is about prohibiting a state religion, right? It's not about religious activism or like religious activist elected officials even, right?
Right,
It's about like, you can't have the fucking Church of England again for obvious fucking reasons. It's like that kind of shit, right? And so yeah, I mean, I think that kind of says it all. Dude, you just got to be careful with these fucking Protestant churches, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think you were saying, why doesn't your church do stuff like that? And I think the reason why they don't do that is because it's Catholic. Like, I think they have a lot more kind of like lines of almost like checks and balance systems, as far as like with all the different hierarchy, and you got to report to this and that and follow these kind of things. Like, I think those kind of things that are in place are there primarily to provide structure and protect the church and stuff like that. And I think that like they lead to not trying new ventures like that. I mean, it could be good, and it's like because like I said, it could help protect the church, the integrity of it going forward, and it stops things like this from happening, where it's like it can turn it into a political thing that's outside of the scope of like actually where you're aiming to go with it. But I think that also, like, I don't know, that's one thing that's difficult with the spiritual journey and in general, is like the difference between like a place of like healthy distance from like the going ons in the world, where you can make peace and return to like some sort of spiritual inner peace, and also like the desire to act in a political manner, or act to change the things around you, because you feel called to, because of like the spirit moving within you to want to see things better for other people. So you're like, well, then how do I do that? And in the world that we live in, it's very politicized now. So like automatically your brain goes to like, it must be through politics. And
Right.
so then you think like, well, how can we do that? And how can we tie the politics into with this church? And like, I think then things can get really tricky like that, because I think that ultimately like a true spiritual end is not through politics at all. I think politics can be very, it's almost like antithetical or antithetical. Thank you.
Yeah,
antithetical to spiritual journey, and means a lot of times, because politics is very much so tied in with power and tied in with like very worldly pursuits of the flesh, and like you can use that in a positive way because you're concerned with like people and like their well-being and like providing an easement of suffering and stuff like that, but it just gets really tricky.
I mean, I authentically still think that like, to like be an effective political actor, you need to like exercise some level of like philosophical materialism. And like, I don't, not necessarily like fucking science brain, but I mean like, like a little bit of, I don't want an effective I want an effective politician, and I want a pious priest, and I don't
You want
want
them to be the same
overlap.
person, right?
Exactly, because everyone has their part to play.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's my whole take with all of this stuff. Is it's just like everyone has their part to play, right? Now, am I saying like completely reject all moral strictures in the realm of the political? No, but like I am also saying that like, great things have been accomplished, by people that, you know, do what needs to fucking get done, is what I'm saying. So yeah. I mean, I think about, dude, a fucking hilarious thing. There's like there's like tons and tons and tons of folk saints that are like not officially recognized by the Catholic Church,
Mm-hmm.
but they were just like, there's just nothing we can do about the fact that people are going to worship these people. So like, whatever, you can just do that, I guess. And so, dude, there's like people in like ex-Soviet states that literally fucking make rosaries and like little altars for fucking Joseph Stalin, bro.
Yeah.
It's like hilarious and like honestly kind of based. So like, I mean, that's what I'm saying, right? It's everybody has their part to play. I'm not saying that Joseph Stalin should be canonized, but
No, yeah, of course not. Like we could get those little candles with them, the ones that they made for like AOC and Fauci. Do you remember those during
yeah, like the
real
devotional
pandemic
candles,
craze?
the
Yeah.
fucking prayer candle. Yeah, that shit's my fiance came back with one of those for Our Lady of Guadalupe the other day, and I was
Oh,
like, dude,
nice.
hell yeah, I've never done one of these.
Dude, they sell them at the fucking dollar store next to me. And it's like I go to get candles every now and again, and I'll look over there. I'm like, man, these are so much cheaper, bro. But I'm like,
Dude,
it doesn't feel right though.
dude, 100%. Dude, we simply need to acknowledge that like a ton of the cool, not paused up stuff about our culture is just there because there's so many fucking Mexicans in our country.
Dude,
And like,
yeah.
and it's like, dude, honestly, like big respect.
Mm-hmm.
Like basically just keeping it grounded. And they still, at least as of right now, have like the race card armor.
Oh
And
yeah.
so they're
They'll
just
take it away
allowed.
soon though. Cubans are on the chopping block.
Oh, dude, Cuba. Yeah, no, for sure. Well, that's because all of the Cubans here are just like anti-communists.
They're politically white. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, it's been a while since I heard that, man. Oh man, dude, that rocks.
Yeah. That's actually who they said it about was the fucking Cubans, bro. The Cubans living in Florida. They're the ones who got DeSantis elected. They're the ones who fucking blew it for Hillary, I guess, or whoever the fuck they're worried about.
Yeah, remember that CNN article that was like multicolored white supremacy or something.
Yeah, that's my favorite shit.
That shit slaps, dude. I love it.
Dude, I love when they try to say other people that are other races or white supremacists just for doing like shit that's not at all white supremacists. Like it's fucking ridiculous.
It's hilarious, man. I mean, honestly, dude, just the fact that anyone would even take that concept seriously anymore is also laughable and sad. But
dude, okay, so we could talk about DeSantis then just a bit. I imagine you probably covered it in the Minecraft video that
I actually didn't really. I don't think I talked about him very much at all. Honestly, I'm realizing I was fucking ripped for that. So like, I don't remember shit. But yeah, I mean, what like?
Okay, so Ron DeSantis, he's a pretty common topic of this show of ours, for obvious reasons.
For obvious reasons, yeah. Hey, Jinx.
Fuck. So yeah, so I mean, and we talk a lot about him. You know, we talk about there's some red flags, and one of the main red flags we talk about is that he likes Israel. And then like I try to offer this rebuttal that I've heard from other people that's like, well, he's in Florida, and like there's old people there, there's Jewish people there, and like.
It's patronage.
It's patronage. You just gotta like Israel, right? And so I'm thinking, okay, like he's gotta do a little bit of, you know, work to mouthpiece for Israel here and there. Every politician's got to, whatever.
Are you going to talk about the hate speech bill?
Yeah, but so now the new thing that's coming up that is the reason why we're going to talk about Ron DeSantis today is that he is in Israel. I mean, he was. I don't know if he is now. I don't fucking.
Shoddy's a little zogged up.
Yeah, Shoddy's zogged up with the best of them, and he has got the explicit fucking recommendation or like support of Netanyahu, saying that he's a strong friend of Israel. So, anyways, Ron DeSantis is over in Israel because that's the best and most important place to campaign before a political. Campaign in America. You gotta go to Israel. You gotta shake the real people's hands, and you're gonna go over to Israel, and he makes this huge stump speech there, and it's kind of like gonna be like a springboard for which he's gonna build a campaign on, and one of the things he announced
he's fundraising.
100% he's fundraising. I mean, it's a good. The man knows his politics. You know, I mean, he's a seasoned political actor. He's effective in the political realm. We've got to give him that. We've said it before.
And apparently he knows how to torture criminals at Gitmo.
Yeah, which is, I mean, shit, that goes well too. I mean, they could
that's
probably.
That's so psychotic, dude. That's so fucking psychotic. Anyways.
Yeah, dude, that's something that blew my mind when I heard it. And like, now it's just kind of like I'm still kind of chewing on it a little bit because
it sounds like satire.
Yeah.
It sounds like fucking satire that like the potential president would be like a person that do you remember there was this guy like Jim Webb, I think, was like the conservative stand-in Democrat candidate in 2016 during the primary. And so it was like Lincoln Chafee, Jim Webb, Bernie Sanders, and Hillary Clinton. And Martin.
Oh yeah, this fucking guy, dude.
I have no idea why I remember any of this shit. Like I can't remember my mother's birthday, but I remember this shit. And like this like when they were like hey, like who's some people who's
some enemies you're pretty proud of, right? Of making. And Bernie was like, oh, the banks, right?
Yeah.
But he said it without the 5 parentheses around it,
Yeah.
like we're talking about right now.
And with with
But
the Jewish accent too.
oh, the banks. Sorry. But Jim Webb is like, well, probably that Viet Cong son of a bitch that like tried to kill me with a hand grenade, and literally it's just like dead silence, and he just kind of like chuckled, and like honestly, like I want to make that like the cover of the fucking episode. I want people to go back and watch that because like that shit rocked.
It's based as fuck, dude.
I would vote for him. Just
Yeah.
like that the Wojak of like the psychotic like sharp teeth general.
Yeah.
That's Jim Webb in that moment,
Dude,
right there.
that's so fucking true. That's base as fuck. That's real Rambo energy. Like,
Oh, 100%.
putting aside for a moment, like the horrible war crimes and like the reason, like we had no reason to be in Vietnam in the first place, and like this and that, the other. Putting all that aside and putting yourself in the shoes of a man who's in life or death conflict out there because he was sent out there, like not even on his own choice. That's based right there.
This is just what it'll sound like when you're sharing your thoughts when we do a book club on Bronze Age mindset. you're just like war. We're gonna do Bronze Age mindset and we'll do Blood Meridian, and it's just gonna sound exactly the same. No, we'll invite Jim Webb on to fucking lead them.
Please, dude. If we could get Jim Webb on, that would be like one of the best things that's ever happened. This man is ridiculous.
It's just gonna be the intro to Fallout, like war never changes.
We play some like wood, like some jungle noises and stuff when he comes on. Like we use that as the intro sound so that he can get a little bit of PTSD flashbacks going and really get him in the zone.
We're gonna get like, oh my god. We're gonna be like, it's gonna be these people are sick ASMR, and it's just like Viet Cong screaming orders in the tree line and like bullets whizzing by your head. We're gonna actually like produce news and get in the take mills for once,
dude. Finally, bro.
by breaking the headline that like he like raped some Viet Cong woman. Like,
oh, dude, yeah, he's gonna break down.
Oh god, it's probably the darkest bit that we've ever had on this podcast. Which loving it.
Hold up, wait, is he married to an Asian broad? Yes,
probably.
Yeah, hold up, dude. He's married to someone named Hong. Fuck, what? Hold on. Hong Lee, I think. Hong Lee.
Yeah, I feel
Hong
like that's
Lee,
like,
which is crazy. That's a crazy name.
That's like a happier ending for like Vietnam vets, basically, right? Where like you either become fucking Gran Torino, or like in like or you know what I mean? You either become like Gran Torino, or you just straight up marry one of their women.
Yeah.
And there's basically no middle ground.
It's a combination of guilt eating you away from the inside, and also just like you like got some wild pussy while you were over there. So you're like, all right, I gotta dip back into this.
He's literally married to the chick from the fucking final act of Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah. Dude, that happens with a lot of like Vietnam vets, dude. They'll do the turnaround. Like we were talking about this a little bit on the last episode, but like where veterans kind of had that regret thing. But I think it's very, very strong and prevalent for like Vietnam vets, particularly because of like,
you better believe it.
How just like we had no purpose being there at all, and like there was so much just like general consensus among Americans that like it wasn't actually something that was worth fighting for, and they're over there and they're kind of chewing on that already and having to like kill people. And anyways, a lot of them, now that they come back and they have PTSD and space to think about it, and that the public perception's really turned on it, they end up having like these like reconciliation type tours where they'll like go back over to Vietnam and they'll like go to the same places that they fought in. They'll go to like the American War Museum or the War Museum of American Hostility or whatever it is that's in Vietnam. And then they'll like meet. I've seen a lot of articles about people that like met Viet Congs that were in the same like bat that they fought fist to fist with, and they end up both getting away. And then like they've met like 40 years later now because of like, you know, vets going over there like, yo, we actually kind of fucked up, and like I didn't really have any say in it, so like, you know, we're kind of over here sorry, bro, you know, shit happens, no harm, no foul kind of thing. And like that's a pretty big thing. When I went over to Vietnam and I went to like the museum and stuff, I saw a bunch of old like US veterans there that were like walking
That's
around
fucking wild,
wearing
dude.
their vet hats and like crying and stuff like that.
It's fucked up, dude. I mean,
Mhm.
like it's super fucked up. Vietnam was like the first postmodern war.
Oh yeah,
Like
dude.
like the way that I mean, these guys came back and got called fucking like baby killers,
Yeah.
right? And like and I mean, and to be honest, it's like
They
yeah,
were. But
no,
like,
well, right, exactly, right, and like and the role that, and I'm not even saying this like in like a critical way, the role that like media played in basically like public support, right? Think about I think the whole thing was right is that video or that image that everybody's seen of like the naked person running down the road like after a bombing
oh yeah.
or something, and they're just fucked up looking.
Yeah.
That's insane. That's
Yeah.
a wild thing.
And it was
right?
just on fucking like regular programming television, dude. Like they were showing that on the nightly news, like local news and stuff. Just broadcast straight from the war. Like they changed that quick. They were like, whoa, whoa, whoa. We can't keep showing people what we're doing over there, like overseas. Like you don't see that about fucking Iraq or anything, dude. You know?
Right.
Because
Right.
like you're saying, like it had the media played a huge role in like changing people's perception of it, because you see that and you're like, there's no excuse for that. Like, and even like, if you could put it in context, and there could be an excuse for it, but you see it out of context and you see it in the media, you're like, that's fucked. And even in the context, it obviously was fucked too, because like we had no business being over there. But like you could do that with anything, and that's the thing that's so sinister with the media too, is like they built public support for the war in the first place, and then they get over there, they're like, oh, this shit's fucked, and then like they, you know, this is the same thing where they play both sides constantly, and it's just like you created the atrocities or the support for the atrocities that you're now shedding light on, and that'll just continue to happen over and over and over again for all time.
Right. Right. And then they get to have the win of being the
guys that exposed it.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's so fucking sickening, dude. These people are sick.
These people are there's some real fucking sick individuals, a lot of problems probably.
Yeah, journalists, real group of sickos. Fuckers.
Yeah, some real pieces of work, I'd say.
You've seen the Ken Burns documentary about Vietnam?
You know, man, I've been meaning to watch it because I bounced off of it really hard when it first came out. Actually, it's funny, when I was living in Seattle at the time, and it was airing on PBS, right? And so I actually went out and bought a fucking TV antenna to get PBS to watch it as it aired. And then it just like, it's so, I mean, I don't know, like I've watched a decent amount of Ken Burns stuff, so I don't really know what I was like expecting, but like it is just a titanic piece of work.
Yeah.
And I just remember I got like an episode into it, like 3/4 of an episode into it.
I don't have space for this right now.
No, exactly. I just like that quickly dawned on me, and I just immediately was just like, no. Honestly, I've kind of done that with the last third of the third season of Twin Peaks. Where like I still haven't finished it.
Really?
I straight up still haven't finished it because I'm watching it. It was the same thing with Elden Ring, like as a video game. Mm-hmm. I haven't beat Elden Ring. I haven't finished season 3 of Twin Peaks because I'm watching it and I'm just like, oh, I'm experiencing a masterpiece.
Yeah, I'm experiencing so much right now. I need to take so much time to just soak in what I've already seen.
Exactly. And I'm like. You saw season 3, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, right. So I mean, I got like a couple episodes past like the big mind fuck one with like
the teapot
explosion. Yeah, exactly. I got a couple episodes past that, and it's just like that. Especially, it's just like, dude, you study this endlessly.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. That shit's so sick, though.
That shit is so sick. And yeah, I mean, I'm just watching it, dude, and that's where like I haven't finished it, but it's so easy for me to basically just say like this is the peak and just culmination, really specifically, of like Lynch's entire body of work.
Yeah.
Have I finished it? No. But you just you even watch a little bit of it and you're just like, oh, this is like all of the pieces of his entire filmography all brought together.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just so, yeah, I don't know. I'm like watching it and I'm just like, I'm like, this might be the peak of television as a medium. Which I have a pretty low opinion. I mean, that's not a very big praise, honestly, for someone like me, because I think that television is just kind of like a shit medium. But yeah, season 3 is fucking so good.
That's what happens when like an absolute fucking creative genius, mastermind, one of a kind, like never matched again in all of history, is given the proper like capital and resources to actually make his vision come to life in the full extent. And like that's the type of powerful thing that comes out when you see that.
100%. Just all cylinders, dude.
Like I see that a lot where you can see that with artists. Like I went to a music festival the past couple weekends ago, and like there was an artist I really like a lot that I saw there put on a show that like probably one of their biggest ones to date, and they were able to actually have the full production equipment that they really need to do to express kind of like the full package of what they're trying to do. And when you actually see it all put together with like the correct stuff, you're like, wow, this is fucking captivating. This is like
going to the movie theater. It's like the movie theater is the clearest example, which is also funny because like I don't know if you've ever seen it, but there's that video of David Lynch just being like the idea that that you would watch a movie on your fucking phone, that you actually saw it. It's just it's like, dude, fucking that rocks, dude.
Yeah. Dude, they should show fucking Twin Peaks in the movie. Like, if they should have put Twin Peaks season 3 out in movie theaters, that would be fucking sick.
That would be sick, dude. Well, there's like those companies that like do these like kind of limited / wide release runnings of like these really specific like Wrath of Khan gets shown in movie theaters like once a year or something like that, and it's like at Lowe's Cineplexes and shit.
Yeah, there's something called the Alamo Draft House. It's like this new. They probably have it in Seattle.
That's fucking Quentin Tarantino's theater.
It is?
Yeah, straight up.
Whoa, okay. Well, they got those around now, and they have them where I live. They just built one, and they had them like in Denver and stuff too. And they'll do like Twin Peaks showings and stuff like that. They'll do like Fire Walk with Me. I don't think they've done
which by the way, Fire Walk with Me is best Lynch film.
Yeah,
best
it's fucking phenomenal. Blue Rose Case. But yeah, so
what was that?
I was just talking about Blue Rose Cases.
Yeah.
But anyways, we can get off of David Lynch talking for now. I think we covered him enough.
Dude, we should do an episode on Fire Walk with Me.
Yeah, I'd love to do that. I'd like to go over that. I was thinking while we were talking though, we could also do an episode one day on the Ken Burns Vietnam. We don't have to cover all of it, but like
I would be so Vietnam fucking episode. Down. Dude, well, we could do a series of it. Mm-hmm. We could just easily do a series of it, and like if the I mean, it's funny because like this was like a huge delay in this episode, so maybe people will be eye rolling when I say this, but
if the schedule allows for it, we'll do extra content.
no, exactly. Like if we like have like just a solid stretch of time, like we could just do weekly like an extra. Mm-hmm. Like we just record basically 2 episodes a week, and we just do fucking an installment of Ken Burns, and then just our normal episode.
I'd be more open to doing that if it's something that's based around like a video episode or like a movie or a documentary or like a book or something, rather than like having to like talk about current events twice or something.
Totally.
Just because I can get burnt out on that. Like this is, I was realizing today, like I opened my phone up to just kind of do a quick recap on like, I was looking up some of these topics, the ones that I hadn't heard of. And then I was also like looking into the news to try to find any kind of like new topics that weren't on the list. And I was realizing like, I'm just looking at the news for the first time in weeks now, just to try to figure out some shit to talk about. I'm like, I don't know. Anyways, so I feel
Slav News Network.
Yeah, I feel more comfortable with doing like an extra episode if it's based around doing some kind of content based thing, like a movie or a book or
Oh yeah, totally. Well, dude, like it seems like the Burnout Society episode like was a hit with our patrons.
Yeah, I got good feedback for sure.
yeah, so like, I mean, dude, I'm super down. Yeah, I've been meaning to. Excuse me. I've been meaning to watch this Vietnam series for the longest fucking time, dude. So this is a perfect excuse too, dude. Dude, Vietnam is just such a fucking fucked up situation.
Oh, it's crazy, dude.
Just wild, man. And like fucking dude, honestly, like Kissinger is like a figure that I would be super down to like read a book.
Oh yeah, that would be cool. We could do like a Kissinger deep dive episode in association with that.
Dude, that's how like all the shit going on with competing currencies with the East against specifically China and Russia against the petrodollar. Like, dude, you fucking really dig into that shit by learning about fucking Kissinger, bro. Like the man who designed the fucking petrodollar.
Right.
Yeah, man. So that shit's cool. Vietnam, not cool, but it seems
Vietnam
like
overall not cool. I mean, the country itself, very cool. The people there, very cool, very receptive to Americans, even though like
Great
they basically ruined their country very recently.
Yeah, killed and just ruined a lot of them. Yeah, generally.
Yeah, like you go over there now, and you still see people with like fucked up limb stuff from being born, like from Agent Orange stuff. Yeah, it's pretty fucking crazy, and like it gives you, I don't know, it's a whole other perspective. I mean, because you can sit here and you're like, yeah, it's fucked up. We went over there and everything, and like then you just see that in person, and you see kind of like they have like a bunch of like dead. They have things in the museum that are like fetuses that had died in the womb because of it, and like they have them preserved, and you can see them, and like just crazy shit, and you're just like, dude, what the fuck did we do, bro? Like, I don't know. I mean, it's not we, because like, I mean, I didn't decide it, but like we ultimately kind of benefit from it. We're all part of this one big machine, so it's like, it's just terrible when like your day-to-day existence is wrapped up in like this huge, horribly unethical fucking beast that's just kind of eating all things good around the earth.
100%. It's like, again, like it's not. I'm not a fucking liberal, right? So like the idea that like we consented to this,
of course,
in any, like meaningful ways. Is obvious. Yeah, that's a joke, right?
And it's a way of like shifting the blame to everyday people instead of like actually just what's going on in the system that's perpetuating it. But
exactly, it's just the whole hat trick, right? But yeah, man. I mean, it's fucked. It's fucked. Like I said, everybody talks about like the Gulf War this way because you had the 24-hour news cycle for the first time. But like Vietnam is like really like the first postmodern, just this like this absolute failure to like get a real meta narrative for it. And which obviously like resulted in the sentiment. We like, you think about dude, just the look at the mythology we make around Vietnam versus the mythology we make around World War II. You want to know about like a correct execution on like the experiment of changing political or like public sentiment on a war. World War II literally like addressed the death of God and is now like our new way of like defining a moral horizon, right? The whole joke is that like Hitler is modernist Satan, right? Take that and then look at how people talk and think about Vietnam happened way after fucking World War II, and like you literally can't, it's like you like can't be you can't like really be critical of the Allies in World War II.
Oh no,
still.
No, right? it's been a long time. Yeah,
that's like why like shit like Slaughterhouse 5 is like wild, right? And just God, what is the fucking city that we bombed again? Dresden, right? Just fucking melting people into the fucking sidewalk, and I mean, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, dude, that's why I thought that All Quiet on the Western Front was such an interesting movie, because it was like, it was Jewish, or not Jewish, what the hell? German soldiers.
Well.
The opposite of Jewish. It was German Nazi soldiers, and it's like from their perspective. And so it's like just an interesting kind of flip, like you're talking about. You're like, oh fuck, like, oh, that's nuts. And like, it wasn't really necessarily critical of Allied forces, but it's just seeing them, you know, the wreckage caused from a different angle. And you're like, you know, it's just kind of a weird reversal of roles that you typically see in the media.
Yeah, it humanizes our enemy, right? And like, I mean, that's also like Grave of the Fireflies is still like authentically. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to say that, but like Grave of the Fireflies is still in some circles like treated with some level of like controversy because it like humanizes you know, what was done to the Japanese people in World War II.
Okay,
And
this is a Studio Ghibli movie.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of this?
No, I just googled it.
Oh, this is an amazing film, dude. It's you've seen, like, you know how like everybody talks about Requiem for a Dream as being like the sad movie.
Yeah.
That's like Grave of the Fireflies is basically like kind of treated the same way.
Okay.
It is like devastating.
I've seen stuff from it before. Like I've seen stills from it and stuff like that before for sure.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, it's like Studio Ghibli, right? So it's like amazingly well animated.
Okay. I'll definitely. I might watch it.
Dude, it's a banger, man. It's like it's authentically a really beautiful movie. But yeah, it's really sad. It's like it's their yeah, like they made a World War II movie. And it's yeah, it's wild.
And that concludes part 1 of this week's episode of These People Are Sick. If you enjoyed part 1 and would like to listen to part 2, you can find that on patreon.com at patreon.com/thesepeoplearesick. Once again, that is patreon.com/thesepeoplearesick. And we'd love to see you over there, as we've got additional exclusive content as well as direct lines of communication with Slav and myself. So come on over and say hey.